Okay, hi everyone. So, I thought I would do another, basically episode of, me trying to get through physical copies on my TBR. So far, I have been unsuccessful with, getting through and enjoying any of these books. So, I've DNF'd 3 books so far. So the first one is Karina, Halle, The Royals Next Door. This woman is supposed to be a teacher. And she's like a teacher for, I would say, second graders probably, because the kid was 8. So yeah, like second grade. Her student gets sick and throws up. He throws up, unfortunately, on her purse, which was near the trash can. And one question I have to ask is, why was your purse near the trash can? That's the first thing. Teachers have desks, right? I've been in how many classrooms teachers have at least some type of desk. Where wouldn't you keep it like your purse under the desk or inside a drawer in the desk? That would make sense. So she has it near the trash can. The kid gets sick, which kids tend to do. Kids tend to get sick. And she looks at her purse like, well, that's garbage now. And another teacher comes in to the classroom after class, and they're like, ooh, like looking at it. And so Piper, the teacher here, goes and decides that she's going to just pull out her credit cards that she has in the front pocket and then dispose of everything else that was inside the bag, including the bag. I'm a parent, so I've dealt with puke, I've dealt with diarrhea, I've dealt with spit up. I have dealt with all kinds of stuff. Why wouldn't you have gloves in the class? Or, I don't know, go to the nurse's office because the nurse's stations have gloves. And use the gloves to open up the bag and pull out your stuff out of the bag. Because she's all like, oh, well, I'll just replace my driver's license. I'm just like, what? Huh? You don't want to touch throw up? So you're just going to replace everything that's in the bag. I'm sorry, no. I do not want to go through the hell of being at the DMV. Every time I have to update my ID, because I don't have a driver's license, I have just a plain old ID. Every time I have to update my ID, I always go online to update it. I'm going to have to go to the DMV next year to update my ID and retake a picture. I don't know about anybody else, but DMV sucks. Ass. So, no. I'm going to go into that puke-filled bag and I'm going to pull out my damn wallet. I don't care. So that to me, I was like, lady, huh? No. I was like, no. this woman is stupid. And I'm like, I am not going to continue reading this book after 6 pages because this woman is so damn dumb. I was like, no, forget that. So I moved on to this book. I read a chapter of it. It's okay, but it's not really what I'm feeling right now. It just, I don't know. I don't think the writing's bad, but I'm just not really into it. You know, it's like this woman who has this dog and she's gonna go and have it be in like the, you know, it's like those best in show stuff, you know, for like rich people who have like, you know, those types of dogs that are all bred and shit. Yeah. So she goes and has this dog, which is very questionable on its parentage of where this dog came from. Supposedly has like forged papers, and so she wants to go and have this dog in the dog show because I guess she's like a nursing assistant or something and wants to help out like the old lady that she helps out. And I'm just like, you're gonna go and do all this with a dog that doesn't even pay attention. You have to like train this dog to do like different tricks and stuff. And it's kind of like how the people do like with when it comes to horses and stuff, where it's like this trotting and stuff. And I'm just like, I look at this and I'm just like, this is like rich people sports stuff. You know, this is like rich people are bored. Let's go and show off this dog doing tricks and stuff. And I'm just like, huh? And like, yeah, it's like best in show. So like, to me, I'm just like, I don't care. So I read a chapter of it and I'm just like, yeah, you know, I'm not really feeling it. So I decided to DNF it, unfortunately. And so I went on to this one here. I didn't even get a chapter in. I didn't even get a chapter into this book. And I'm just like, I'm not feeling this. I'm just not feeling this. You know, she's obviously like this quirky sunshine character. And this dude is just total, you're a fuck up type of thing. I read like how many pages and I'm like, clearly she's, you know, she thinks she's a good baker or whatever. And she ends up like creating this unicorn cake that explodes, and she ended up getting like dropped from this competition. And I'm like, well, yeah, because your unicorn exploded. You know? Your cake unicorn exploded, so you're gonna get eliminated, you know? It's just how it is. And so her attitude's like, well, I'll show him. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care. So yeah, for me, I'm just like, I'm not feeling this one either, unfortunately. So already, I'm not doing well. Not doing well. I've already DNF'd like 3 books. So yeah, I'll update with another book, you know, when I go and see if I can get through a book, another physical copy I have, see how far I can get with it, if I can get through it or not. And I'm just like, not having a good time with this. I'm just like, oh man, I'm just not feeling these. The you know, like the first like chapter or 2, you have to have that hook. You have to have something that compels you to keep reading the book. Otherwise, it's just like, this is boring. I'm bored. I'm not having a good time with this. So yeah. At least it gets more books off my shelves, so that way I can buy books that I want to have on my shelves. So I will update later and see how it goes. Okay, update. So my anxiety's a little up today. It's always like that when I drop my children off at school the first day. so I'm a little anxious. So I am not in the best mood today. So I decided to go off script. I was, going based on my TBR, but I recently went and ordered books that I've already read, like Kindle books, and so I decided to order the physical copies. Physical media to me is still priority, because I always have this thought in my head, like, what if the lights go out and don't turn back on again? What do you do? What do you do at that time besides, figuring out other things to do? But I'm like, the one thing I do have is books. You can read them in candlelight, so that's the way I kind of think about it. It's like, I want to have the physical copies of my books rather than just having them Kindle form, electronically. Plus also, there are things of like, digital media could always be deleted. Even after you paid for it, it could be deleted off a system. So yeah, I prefer physical media. I still prefer that than anything else. So I went and I ordered some books. So I got like how many Ruby Dixon books that I've read. I ended up picking up some other books, like some the Claire Kent books I've read, a Juliet Cross book I just recently read. And one book I picked up that was new because it sounded really good to me was I picked up Sailor Proof by Annabeth Albert. And it sounded good to me right now. And I'm like, I want to read this. I want to read it. Of course, it's not been on my TBR for any length of time. But I was like, you know what? I want to read it. It sounds good, and it just sounds like a cute book. So we got this guy he's a naval chief, and so he has an ex that I think is going to be at the docking station where, like the naval officers or basically the seamen, the seamen and the naval officers and all that stuff, get off, and then they'll see their families and all that stuff and get hugs from their families. And so he's not going to have anybody that is going to greet him, So somebody comes along. I can't remember who it is. What was it? It's some dude who comes along and is like, I'll help out this guy and pretend to be his boyfriend. So it's kind of like basically what it is. And so it sounded interesting to me. So I wanted to check it out and see if it's any good. And you know what? I really don't delve into like military type of books. My boyfriend, his nephew, is a part of the Navy. Right now he is, stationed somewhere else. They, of course they get on for a little bit on the boat and all that stuff and do their time there, and then they get off. So obviously, they kind of go back and forth and everything, which it can be really, to be a military spouse is very hard, because a lot of people don't understand the job of, constantly traveling and, having to be stationed at different places and stuff. So yeah, so for me, I was like, you know what, I want to read this because, who doesn't like a guy in a Navy suit or something? I just kind of like look at it like, oh, those guys are kind of like attractive in their Navy outfits. So I thought I would check this out and see if it's any good. And I like male romances, so I figured, it sounded pretty good. So I want to read that and see, and hopefully I end up liking it, and then make this vlog a little bit better, because then I'm not like constantly like, I didn't like this book, so I DNF'd it. So I'm really hoping I don't DNF that book. And I totally forgot that I do have another book by that author. So I have this one here. It's Annabeth Albert. This is Arctic Heat, and this is another male-male romance. And this one here, I'm like, I kind of want to read this now for the fact that it's supposed to be like a winter up in the mountains. I think they're kind of like trapped in this like cabin, and I'm like, that sounds good. So for me, I was like, let me check this out and see, because it's the guy's a ranger. Okay, so it's like a ranger, some other person. And so I can't remember what the synopsis is. I think these guys both end up like at this place. So yeah, it sounded good. So I was like, well, if I do like that Navy book, then I will pick up this book by the same author. So yeah, it just sounded good right now. And you know, it's because right now it's like I want to read more cold, because I mean, I'm glistening. You can't really see it, but there's sweat. Can you see the sweat right on my arm? I'm not even doing anything, and I'm already like caked in sweat. Ridiculous. So I just, you know, I'm like, can I go to Alaska, please? I want to go to Alaska right now. I will handle the cold. I don't care, you know. So obviously I don't think it gets super hot in Alaska, because they're surrounded by, you know, all this shit. So for me, I don't think it gets too hot there, but I will happily go there right now. I don't care if I'm bundled up in a cabin and I'm dealing with a whole ton of snow. I will handle that right now, rather than me baking, you know. So yeah, so I thought I'd do a little bit of a different thing, you know, kind of go off my TBR and read this, because this sounds really good to me right now. And I know how I am as a mood reader. If it sounds good to me, read it. So this here sounds good. I want to delve into this and see how it is. So I will update you all later, and hopefully I either get halfway through the book or all the way through the book and I can explain it. So yeah, I will update you all later. And get out of this freaking closet. Okay, so update. So I am about 8 chapters into that book. I'll have to put it here because I don't have it in my hands. So I'm about 8 chapters in. I would say it's very low angst, like low angst, and from what I can tell, kind of like low spice. Like you can tell, like the two guys they're, you know, attracted to each other, but they feel like very awkward around each other. So I guess that's natural, because it's like, you know, if you're pretending to date, if it looks, you know, like if it looks too natural to us, like as a reader, then it's like you clearly can see, oh yeah, they're definitely gonna go down to Bone Town, you know. They're definitely gonna, you know, get it on very quickly. But this here, it's like you could tell they're awkward around each other, like the younger one. I can't remember his name. He is, you know, you could tell he is definitely more attracted to the naval chief than the other way around. I mean, obviously the naval chief is like, you know, seeing the younger brother again after how many years. He's like, his eyes widen, like, wow, you know, he got like cute, you know. So I don't know how I feel about it right now. So I ended up taking a break from that, because I saw that Flor's Fiasco came out for Ruby Dixon. I'm like, oh, I gotta read that. So I ended up finishing that within a day. I got through it pretty quick. And I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, you know. Like I said, I kind of go based on my enjoyment of a book, of why I gave something 5 stars. there were like a few things that I wasn't really a big fan of. So you have like Flor, who's been, you know, she's been over near like the beach tribe. You have like the beach tribe, and then you've got like the other tribe that is like farther inland where it's like colder, you know, on that planet. They're not Hoth. So Flor has been like friends with like Irek, and Irek has kind of been obsessing over Tia. And if you've read the previous books, I am not a fan of Tia. I mean, you know, B-shit, you know, Bridget was a pain in the ass, and so wasn't, oh, there was the other one. She was one of the alien, one of the Masakas. She was one of the aliens, and she was already like, when we're introduced to the characters in the first series, like Splendid Barbarians, she's already been like, you know, resonance to this other guy. And I didn't like her story. And then I didn't like a few other ones that I just was not a fan of. I just don't like the heroines. So I haven't been a fan of like some of the heroines in the books. So this is a part of the Ice Home series. So technically it's like I guess you could say a continuation of the Ice Planet Barbarians, but it's almost kind of like a spin-off kind of thing. You know, you'll have like characters that kind of like go in and out of the stories that are a part of the Ice Planet Barbarians. So that's why I tell anybody who gets into Ruby Dixon, read the Ice Planets first, then delve into the Ice Home, because you're gonna miss characters and stuff. So Flor and Irek have been friends with each other, and like they get along with each other, like they joke around and stuff. So when I saw them in the last book, Daisy's Decision, I was like, oh, they are definitely going to resonate. And I wasn't wrong, because at the end of Daisy's Decision, that's what happens. So, so Flor has like this issue where she's one of the last ladies to get, you know, to resonate to somebody. So the other one who needs to resonate is Tia. And honestly, I'm not looking forward to her story, because she is so freaking annoying. She is such a spoiled brat, and I can't stand her. So I really hope that what happens at the end of this book here, Flor's Fiasco, I hope that Tia's character matures a lot, because she is so annoying. And so Irek and Flor resonate, and he's like quickly like he wants in her, you know, because he was already feeling like this jealousy. You know, it's kind of like almost like a precursor of like your Kui basically saying like, hey, this is gonna happen, you know, kind of thing. So he already was feeling like this attraction to Flor, but because he was so like stupidly obsessed with Tia, that he didn't see it right away. And then once he, you know, resonated with Flor, it was like it all kind of came to him of like, yeah, she's my mate, I like to be around her. Flor, on the other hand, it took like most of the book to convince her that Irek wanted to be with her, because she kept thinking, he's going to want to be with Tia, he's not going to want to be with me. Once we resonate and we get, you know, basically get pregnant, that, you know, he's not going to want me anymore. You know, he's going to want Tia, because he's been obsessing over Tia. So I was like, you know, thinking to myself, man, fuck Tia. Tia is a pain in the ass. I cannot stand that character. I absolutely hate that character. all throughout Ice Home, she's been nothing but a pain in the ass. So it was I saw a guy that he's a parent of one of the students that goes to my daughter's school. So I you know, ever since one of my eldest started kindergarten, I've seen him, so he waves and stuff when he sees me. So anyways, so Flor is she frustrated me a bit when it came to, you know, her believing Iraq, and I was like, girl, I believe him. I believe him, you know. So he kind of had to like prove himself to her, even though I really liked Flor because I loved her sense of humor. She was hilarious, she was funny. But yeah, that I would say that was my frustration with Flor, is that it took like most of the novel for her to be convinced that Iraq, you know, truly wanted to be with her. And I was really hoping, you know, Rajal, I think his name is Rajal. Rajal was not going to end up with Tia, because I was like, oh, no man, no man needs to be stuck with that. No man needs to be stuck with that, because she is such a pain in the ass. So I would say the character of Tia really made me lessen the book, but I still gave it 5 stars because I really liked the relationship between Flor and Iraq. So I hate the garbage stuff. It's so loud. So anyways, I finished that book. I'm gonna try to get through and finish that Sailor Proof book. But I will say it's very low angst. Very low angst. I'd say if like you're not really into like angst-ridden stories, it's very slow paced, you know, like more of a slow burn, I guess you could say. Sorry about that. So it is a slow burn. So I'm really trying to like, it's not like I don't like it, but it's a little slow for me. But you can, you know, see the attraction with the characters. It's starting to build with them. So yeah, it is an interesting story. I'll give it that. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I went and I finished Flor's Fiasco. And then at the end, Ruby said if you sign up for her, you know, email, you know, her account, just to, you know, get emails and stuff like that, that you can get an extra bonus scene of Flor and Iraq. So I was like, well, let me do that. So I did that, and I read that. I think it was called the fishing competition or something like that. Something like that, where it's Flor and Iraq, and it's been maybe like how many months or weeks after, you know, they got back home, and, you know, they're having a fishing competition. I like that she challenges Iraq. I like that she did that Flor challenged Iraq, you know, because he was pretty much like the alpha of his group, like his clan. He was like the one in charge of making sure everybody was taken care of and all that stuff. So it kind of made him a little, you know, bullheaded and all that stuff, you know. But I will say, like, he wasn't, you know, there's those type of like alpha holes. He wasn't that. He was not an alpha hole. I'd say he was alpha in a way, but he also had like so much of these cinnamon roll vibes, you know, so many cinnamon roll vibes, because he was so sweet to Flor. He was so sweet to her. So I really liked his character a lot. So that's probably why I gave it 5 stars, because I really liked them as a couple. Their chemistry was really great. And then, like I said, once they resonate, it's whoo. so it's a go, you know, kind of thing. So yeah, I liked that too. So, but yeah, that's my update so far. Okay, last update. So I finished this one off. I'm gonna give it like a 3. So I'll go into like the full synopsis of the story. So you have this guy named Derek, and he's a chief naval officer, and him and his crew, you know, his crewmates, they're all gonna be docking soon. You know, so that way they can see their family, have that time off before they have to get shipped back out, you know, and do, you know, obviously another run of, you know, being on the ship and stuff. So, he doesn't have anybody who's gonna be meeting him, you know, and it always feels good when you see like couples and all that stuff, like seeing each other after being, you know, away for a while, you know. So, you know, military marriages don't really work out that much because, you know, you're spending time away. I'm assuming truck drivers probably have a really hard time as well because they're constantly on the road. So their marriages may not be that great either. So, you know, the more time away from somebody, feelings tend to change. So Derek, unfortunately, his boyfriend decided to, you know, his ex decided to cheat on him. You know, this is why he has an ex. And so the one guy he works with is a real asshole. And this guy's like, oh, I'm going to be making out with your ex-boyfriend. And I'm like, why would you do that, first of all? You are grown-ass adult. Grown-ass adult. Why would you do that? That is very immature. So Derek wants to punch this guy out, you know, but of course it's not going to look good for, you know, like morale and all that stuff. You know, plus it looks bad, you know, in the military if you're going to be fighting with another person. Doesn't look good. So Derek's friend, who also works on, you know, works on the ship, he's like, hey, my younger brother could help you out. He could pretend to be, you know, your boyfriend, and, you know, that way you could see each other. And so Derek's like, you know, he reluctantly does it because he doesn't really want to. He likes his friend's family, so he doesn't want to like make a bad impression. So his friend's, I can't remember the friend's name now, his friend's brother, Arthur, is like, you know, yeah, I'll do it. You know, he goes, I'll, you know, give him a big old kiss, you know, just kind of make the other guy jealous. So that happens, where he gets off the ship, meets up with Arthur. They go in there, you know, kissing. And unfortunately, it ends up going viral because Arthur's friend is like, she's into like, you know, like she's like one of those Instagram influencers and all that stuff. So her videoing them had went viral. And so they're like, well, we have to keep up the pretenses that, you know, we're like dating. So you got like this fake dating relationship. They're also like hanging out with Arthur's family. So it's kind of like that close proximity romance. And then you've got like only one bed type of, you know, situation. So this one here was very much slow. It was very slow, very, I don't want something that is extremely angst ridden because I don't always like those. But then I don't want it to be where there's not enough angst, there's not enough like going on. And this is kind of like how I felt like with this one here. There wasn't enough going on for me to really enjoy this story. Not that I want them like boning like jackrabbits or something. You know, that's not my thing. I want them to have like chemistry, and I want to feel that chemistry. I didn't really feel the chemistry between the characters. They felt very awkward around each other for, you know, how much of the book, and then they kind of started getting along, and then they were having sex. So to me, I was like, I didn't really see much progression for them to get to that point. So unfortunately, I'd say I'm probably going to give this a 3. It was fine, but it didn't like do it for me. And I will say, like, Arthur was a bit funny, but also it was very awkward to me, because it's like you could see he doesn't have a really great relationship with his parents. And so it's like they didn't like that he got into like music and composing, you know, kind of like composing and doing different things like that. And I was kind of like, why? I don't know. I just didn't see like what the big deal was. And he very much was like kind of definitely more introverted, and it was more of that angry, I'd say more of an angry introvert, someone who doesn't really want to be around people, you know, because he kind of thinks of himself as like, I don't know, to me, almost felt like Arthur thought of himself as superior to everyone else. I just didn't like that. That's what I was kind of getting from him, was those types of vibes, even though he was kind of like funny in some ways, but I felt like he was too arrogant. And so I was like, wasn't really a big fan. And Derek, who's the naval officer, I felt like he was a bit like really, you know, kind of like had a stick shoved up his ass. And it's like, dude, you can't have a personality, you know? It's like, you could be in the military and have a personality. So I just was like, you know, I felt like he was too stiff. And I was like, you need to, like, loosey-goosey. You need to loosen up a little bit, because you're, you know, it's too much. So, yeah, for me, I was like, you know, it was certain things that just really just didn't do for me. And it was too much of, like, his, you know, Arthur's family around. And it was, like, to me, I just felt like it needed to be more of the romance and less of like, I don't give a crap about the family, you know? So I was kind of like, I don't really care about like all these other secondary characters and stuff and all the stuff that they go through. So it really was, you know, a 3. It was fine, it was decent, but wasn't like, it didn't wow me. It didn't wow me, and there were some parts I thought were just boring. So unfortunately, yeah, this is not going to be something I'm going to keep. This is why I end up like not buying a bunch of new books. This one here was like, I bought the physical copy of it because the Kindle price I did not want to pay for. I did not want to pay the Kindle price, because sometimes the Kindle price is just way too expensive, and I'm like, I'll just buy the physical copy. It just costs a few bucks more, so I'll just pick up the physical copy. So unfortunately, I wasn't a fan of this one. So that's it for this vlog here. I'm planning on doing, for the month of September and October, I decided I'm going to, because I have how many books here that I need to reread. So for the month of September and October, I'm gonna do how many rereads. I may not, you know, I don't know. I may mention them in videos. I may not mention them. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. But I'm going to do a bunch of rereads, because I picked up how many books that I decided to pick up physical copies of that I really liked, that I read on Kindle. So I'm going to do a bunch of those in September and October. And then also I want to do more paranormal books. I have like, I'm not sure if I'm going to get through the Kresley Cole series, but I have this Kresley Cole series that I need to get through. I have this other series that I need to get through that's like paranormal. So I do have how many of those, and I have how many books that are thriller books. So I want to try to see if I can make a dent in those, and kind of do that. But yeah, that's what I plan on doing for like September and October, is mainly paranormal, thrillers and rereads. That's pretty much what I'm going to be sticking to, is doing that. But yeah, anyways, that's it for this video here. Have yourselves a good day. Take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and I will see you all on the next video. All right, bye.